Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. From now through May 6th, if you use that promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing to win a War of the Spark booster box. See the description below for details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to this special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. War of the Spark is about to be released. As of the recording of this video, it's Thursday, and the set will come out tonight at midnight and tomorrow. And we're going to check in one last time and see what the price trends are as we move into the launch weekend. So let's get right into it. Before we look at our top 10 cards that are losing and gaining value, I wanted to check in with a buy a box promo. This is Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge, down a little bit this week, 212 to 2612. As these cards get into circulation, things will calm down. That's pretty typical with these price points. This is a pretty cool commander card, though. I do see a lot of people trying to pick this one up early so they can build around it. Okay, let's move to the top 10 War of the Spark cards that lost value this week. Coming in at number 10 is Ravnica at War, down 32 cents to 50 cents. I like board sweeps, especially ones that only cost me 4 mana. This one isn't very color intensive either. Also, note that this hits all multicolor permanents, not just creatures. But I think right now people want to wait and see what direction the standard meta goes. Will there be a Super Friends deck and decks playing a lot of multicolor permanents, or will it be a meta made up of more hyper-aggressive decks running monocolor spells? I do think this will see standard play out of sideboards, and it currently has a very low price point. Number 9 is Vivien's Arcbow, down 33 cents to 368. I do realize that cards that have to have a further activation when they enter the battlefield aren't always the best standard cards. But this is a legendary artifact. You can do it right away, so it only costs 2 to get into play. If you draw this later in the game and you have mana and something to discard, you can activate it immediately, which is nice. So I do think this, again, has a little standard potential. The raw power is here. It just depends on whether there's a deck looking for something like this in the meta. Number 8 is Solar Blaze, down 34 cents to 49 cents. Very similar to Ravnica at War. It is a forecasting cost board sweep, essentially, with a drawback, and this one's a little more color intensive. And of course, this can only impact creatures. But again, it just depends on where the meta goes. This could be a sideboard card. It just depends on what kind of creatures are prevalent going forward. If you have a lot of high toughness creatures prevalent, then, well, maybe this card doesn't have a great role. But if you don't, this could be very, very good. Number 7, Oath of Kaya, goes down 38 cents to $1. This is interesting to me. I want to sleep on this card. I think it actually does have a lot of potential. 3 casting costs, Lightning Helix for the Esper control deck, basically. Although it is at sorcery speed, it's not an instant, but I don't know if that matters. I think that effect could be powerful enough to at least see some sideboard play. The other ability even could be more relevant if maybe there's a Super Friends deck out there in the future too. So just something to keep an eye on. This is very cheap right now, though. Number 6, Planewide Celebration, down 39 cents to 51 cents. This is a little too expensive, I think, for standard, but a great commander card if you're thinking of picking this up for a commander deck or maybe a couple copies for various decks. 50 cents or so is a pretty good deal. It might come down a little more too when it launches this weekend. Number 5, Finale of Devastation, down 58 cents to $9.98. So this is a mythic. It still has a very high price point, and I do think this card will see standard play. The flexibility is just too good. I can play it early, go get something small like a Llanowar Elf to ramp myself, or I could play it later and go get something really big that could be a win condition. And, you know, in green, I don't think it's going to be impossible to get that X at least up to 10 from time to time. Number 4 is another Finale of Revelation, down 84 cents to $2.75. On one hand, this is a sorcery which does not feel good for standard control decks. On the other hand, those decks might have a chance at occasionally getting the X at least up to 10. Maybe this sees a little sideboard play. I do think this is more of a commander card, though. Number 3 is Karn the Great Creator, down 90 cents to $10. This works amazing with Mycosynth Lattice. We talked about that in the past. I don't know if there's a place right now for this particular card in standard, but I do think other formats will be happy to play this. Number 2 is Teferi Time Raveler, down $1.39 to $14.72. This is the rare that had the highest price point going into pre-release weekend, so it stands to reason it's going to lose a little value this week. I do think this is standard sideboard play. This could be good in mirror matches against other control builds, for example. Number 1, Ugin the Ineffable, goes down $1.44 to $7.99. Cards losing a fair amount of value surprises me a little bit. I thought this would stay stronger longer. We'll have to see what happens over the next few weeks. However, the reason I expected it to stay a little more stable was the fact that there's a lot of folks right now playing those colorless commander decks, and this fits perfectly into those builds. This still has a shot at some standard play, maybe Aristocrats for example, but time will tell. Okay, let's move on to the top 10 War of the Spark cards that gained value this week. Coming in at number 10, Chandra Fire Artisan up 96 cents to $2.99. I think this card people were kind of sleeping on during the pre-release time a little bit. This is perfect for an aggressive deck. It does everything you want to do. It lets you see more cards, it keeps the pressure on, and that forecasting cost feels very reasonable. Number 9, Ashiok Dream Render up $1.18 to $3.25. This card does have the mill potential here. Maybe there could be a self-mill deck with the new Jace, perhaps. But that -1 can also get rid of opponents' graveyards, which can be very important against a lot of today's popular decks in more than one format. Then there's that first ability. Spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause their controller to search their libraries. Shuts down things like fetch lands and tutors. Great in multiple formats. Number 8, God Eternal Oketra, the first god today, goes up $1.37 to $8.20. I think this thing's going to be a powerhouse. I know some people are worried about the 5 casting cost. I think that's just a high portion of your curve in something like a White Weenie build. Basically, your White Weenie deck starts to lose a little momentum as the game goes on. This card could make a deck like that better in the late game. This is one to keep an eye on, definitely. Number 7, Tamiyo, Collector of Tales, up $1.47 to $3.47. Tamiyo is a powerhouse when it comes to filling your graveyard, and that's what I think the best part of this card is. It does a lot of other things too. For example, that +1 will let you dig for an answer you need. You might not hit it, but it gives you a chance of hitting maybe a combo piece or an answer to a problem. The -3 could be very relevant, especially if you're populating your graveyard with that +1. And also, the spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you to discard cards or sacrifice permanents every once in a while. That will be relevant too. Personally, I'd like to try this out with Persistent Petitioners and Commander. This is a great card that could have implications in a lot of different styles of decks and different formats. Number 6, God Eternal Aronis, goes up $1.69 to $7.37. These creatures that come into play and pump all your stuff for the turn, they can be win conditions sometimes. Is this good enough to be a potential win condition for maybe a green stompy deck or something along those lines within the standard format? Maybe. It also gives those creatures vigilance until end of turn, so you don't have to worry about the crackback sometimes. And if your opponent decides they need to get rid of this thing, which they might because it is a 5/5 Death Touch creature on its own, if they can't exile it or tie it up in some other way, then it's going to come back sooner or later at some point, maybe sooner than later if you happen to have Tamiyo, right? And when it comes back, it's going to give that pump effect again, and that could be backbreaking. Here's another card that has standard potential. Number 5 is Dreadhorde Invasion, up $2.07 to $5.38. This is the best amass card in the set, I think, just because it just keeps giving. Now, enchantments that come in and don't do anything on their own, again, not always exciting here, but 2 casting cost, it doesn't do anything until your upkeep, but once you upkeep, you do get a 1/1 creature minimally, and then as time goes on, that creature could get bigger. Also, the other ability, very relevant. Whenever a zombie token you control with power 6 or greater attacks, it gains lifelink until end of turn. Not as good as Bitter Blossom, but it is reminiscent of it. That second ability could give you a chance at some point to recoup the life loss that triggers on your upkeeps. If you're trying to play a casual zombie deck with tokens and amass, this could be good, but I have seen standard brews already. I have seen a Grixis amass deck, for example. So I do think there is potential for this mechanic to have some legs in that format. Number 4, Nicol Bolas, Dragon God, up $3.65 to $30.09. Not only is this the big, splashy, exciting card of the set, but it's also a very good card. Already, I see people working on Grixis midrange and Grixis control builds with this. I have no doubt we'll see some of those in week 1 of the new standard. Plus, this is just an incredible card for Commander. It does so many amazing things. If you play with a lot of Planeswalkers, wonderful. Even if you don't, that first ability can take the loyalty abilities from your opponent's Planeswalkers as well. Plus, you get all that other stuff going on, too. Number 3 is Gideon Blackblade, up $3.92 to $19.99. We've talked about this card a lot on the channel. It's just pushed economically. 3 casting cost for a 4/4 indestructible creature. Even if it's only on your turn and it can't defend very well, that's still really good, especially for an aggressive build like Mono White or something like that. Additionally, the +1 ability would also be very relevant in Mono White. The -6 will always be good as long as you can get there. Very push card. Number 2, God Eternal Kefnet, goes up $6.73 to $18.94. This card is just super push too. 4/5 flyer for 4, that's a pretty good start. You may reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it. Whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery this way, copy that card and you may cast the copy. The copy costs 2 less to cast. Then, of course, it also has that persistency that the other gods have too. Now, this is just pure advantage as long as you can hit instants and sorceries. It's acceleration, you're saving on your mana because when you play the copy, it's 2 less, and you're still getting the copy in your hand so you can play it again later. It doesn't necessarily hurt things like the Drake deck or anything like that by making you play copies. You don't have to play the copy if you rather just play the actual card and get it into your graveyard. So I do think you'll see this in Standard, probably in different builds. Anytime you have a lot of instants or sorceries, this is going to be excellent for you. Number 1, Liliana Dreadhorde General goes up 915 to 29.94. There's a lot of potential for this card in Standard. It does cost 6. The question isn't, is this going to see Standard play? It's just how much. With the 6 casting cost, how many copies do you want in a given deck? With that being said, though, I do think you can find this in Aristocrat-style decks. You're going to see people play this maybe in a zombie build, perhaps, if one of those can get there, whether it's in a mass build like the one we talked about earlier, or maybe just a more traditional zombie build. Control decks, too, might want a copy or 2 of this one. I've seen Grixis control decks testing it, so we'll have to see where it actually does fall in the coming weeks. Alright, with that being said, that's our Market Watch for today. Until next time, though, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.